Hey people, want to do an update on the work I've got done on this charger so far. I've been working on this since about February 1st. From the middle of March, I've been working on it about 4 hours a day, every day, for the most part. I haven't missed many. So this is the updates I've got going on here. This is the passenger side. I finished this quarter panel patch. It's in self-etching primer. Got a little dent here from a clamp we used, which kind of unfortunate, but it'll be able to be covered up pretty easily. This is the first panel I've ever done of this size. You can try to see it. It should be pretty good. I've been told by the guy who's going to paint it and do the filler work. It didn't come out perfectly butt welded, which angers me because it was fit in there pretty well. And when we tacked it a couple times, it pulled it up and bound it. I actually had to flex it out and grind some on the top, and it fit back in. But every time we tack welded it, I don't know if your butt weld has to have a hair of a gap to be correct, or if it should be touching, because it seems like when I was touching it would make it bind and then it would stick up, but it should be able to be welded over. I'll try to get an angle, or not welded over, but filled upon. We basically made the whole flange and everything with a hammer. The wheel lip molding fits on it perfectly. I cut it off, and then I cut the panel patch, and we fit it in there, and the line fit so well that I adjusted the bottom edge to the flange rather than move it up and try to adjust the cut. There was this patch here that's complete. That's a little deep so that the fill can go on it. This is actually the first panel I ever did at all. It's a fairly small one. Today I just got into this guy. This was a tiny little bubble, and then it ended up being a rust spot. But I actually exposed the lead of the car. See this discoloration here? That's lead filler. You can see it. This is what this is. That's all lead. Because it looked like a car had been skinned. It looked like there was two different layers. Like the outside looked like it had been ground really thin and rusted through. But it was actually the lead layer over top of the rust spot. I have the patch for that made over here. Oh, where's my table? I moved my table because I was working on the other side. I'll show you my patch. Oh, here it is, this little guy. So this is my patch. It's an arrow indicated on it, so it'll fit in this welding rod so I can actually handle it. This guy will go right in here. I'll be able to hold it. I think I'm gonna weld it on the bottom first, and I'm gonna try to roll it up in to try to get the body bend a little bit, maybe, if I can. It definitely pays off to take your time, and I like to chew these little patches up with this guy, and I think that's 120 grit. Take your time and do it. Here's the exhaust, TTI. With TTI 3-inch tips. We've had the car running again, and it sounds amazing with these welded Ultraflow Dynamax mufflers on them. It's a story and a half to me. It took 26 hours for me and about 8 hours of help with my father to get these TTI pipes in the car because of, you can see it over there, that brace I put in. You can see it right under that exhaust clamp. See if I can get a better shot of it. I've showed this brace in my videos before, but that pushed everything back 4 inches from the regular muffler area. So then I had to compensate that by basically coping and cutting, shortening the top of the muffler and the pipe until I could get everything to fit in that 4 inches, and that was a pain in the ass. The inside's done correctly too, to where There's no big piece of pipe sticking down or anything to impede the flow. But the tailpipes, excuse me, are in their correct positions. Yeah, it's these TTI tips, they're expensive. They're $200 for the set, basically, $175 in shipping. But I'm telling you, after I got them and put them on and leveled them off and made them match, they're worth it. It's really cool setup because they use a band clamp here with a bolt, heavy duty band clamp. There's got to be a name to it. But they locate the pipe or the tip on the pipe with a little tiny hole and a rivet. So once you get them all in and out adjusted and then leveled, you basically put a straight edge on the bottom or a level to this one to the next one, get them squared to each other and in and out correctly. And then you punch the little holes out with a drill, and then there's a tiny little stainless rivet that goes under this. It's got a little flat mushroom head, so then the tip can't come off or it can't rotate. It's pretty cool. We had to make that hanger over there to match this hanger because this was a single exhaust car. So that's that. The real trick to this shit was though this little pie wedge cut I had to do in each side because you can see the transmission bracket. We tipped the tail of the transmission down a hair to compensate for the scatter shield, carbon fiber shield on the transmission because it wouldn't fit, I think. This was years and years ago, I don't really remember. But, so the headers are down a hair, so that made everything down here 3 inches low. So before when I had like a side out exhaust, Spintech muffler with an oval side exit, everything was way too low and I hated it, it looked like crap. So, I found a calculator and stuff and a pie wedge at 4.5 degree pie wedge will raise that end 3 inches at 3 feet. Or no, I'm sorry. Was it 1 inch at 3 feet? I don't remember, but there's a calculator online. It might have been, yeah, it probably was 3 inches at 3 feet. Something similar to that. I can't remember exactly, look it up. But yeah, I think it was 3 inches, an inch per foot roughly, 4.5 degrees. I made a bunch of pie wedges because I thought I might have to cut it in different places and keep tweaking it and moving it, but thankfully just this one here on the end gave me the space and it fit pretty much, put the muffler perfectly where it needs to be. They ended up nice and level and in their factory position, pretty much. I'm telling you, it sounds great. I like this shot right here, actually looking down from the headers. You see how symmetrical those came out. They look good. They sound awesome. What else I want to talk about? We'll go to the next side. There's the trunk floor. All done. The fuel cell mounting bolts, and I'll refinish the patch. I might grab a... Oh, there's no ladder up here. There's I think I have images of the inside of the trunk done. There's the vent for the fuel cell. My dad's mentioned, this is gonna get all sprayed with whatever you're driving through. I'm gonna take aluminum tape, like over there on that coal furnace, for the pipe, and stick it on this front side of this, and that'll protect the filter from any type of splash or dirt spray or whatever. So here's my trunk extension, welded in. That's a pretty easy job compared to the fender, really, or the quarter. They're pour 15'd as well. That stuff works awesome. There's a relocated switch I did. This car has been hit, or they hit something. This is gonna be worked on after I get this patch in. This welding in here, I don't know what we're gonna do there yet. This is gonna be a work in progress. It's gonna be a job. But my body guy said he couldn't really work on that too much until I get this in because it'll be too weak and he won't be able to hammer on it good. There's the other patch up here. That's all been cut square now and fit. So I have some ultra cob work. I don't know what you want to call it, but here we have some JB weld that's setting in there. And I'm going to tell you why. And before you call me a dirtbag for doing that, let me explain to you the problem. So, like I said, I'm not a body guy, and I'm doing as good as I can here. But this side, factory, was different than the other side. And right here where I'm pointing with my finger, in this little outer edge of the wheelhouse, where it was folded from the factory, there was a big gap right here from eternity that was allowing water to spray in from the tire, and that's why this side rusted out as bad as it did. A big gap. And this section here had like 5 large pinholes in it. Like, let's not call them a pinhole. I mean, they were big. Probably, I don't know, it's like a 16th to an 1/8, and then 3/8 maybe. That'd be big. Maybe, I don't know. It was huge, these holes. And this whole panel right here, this section is thin as shit. So, I'm not good enough to hand make this outer wheelhouse piece, right? And I can't do that. And then fill in this corner piece and those holes and the remaining sheet metal of this whole section. I'm trying to watch my finger instead of the phone. Is so thin, there's no way I'll be able to weld it. So I figured the best thing I could do here is to pour 15 it, which I did anyway to keep it from continuing. And then I scuffed it up and JB welded all that. JB welded this big factory gap closed. I have a piece of painter's tape on the inside. And then I'm gonna rough up the inside, which is also pour 15 when that tape comes off and when this hardens. And I'm gonna do a little bit of pour 15 in there. I'm gonna refit, or not pour 15, but JB weld. And then refinish it with undercoating and whatnot. And this is the JB weld and the little, these guys, it takes a lot more heat than the other stuff. It takes like 550 degrees. So I should be able to weld this patch on over it, and it should withstand the heat pretty well. Stop spot welding, you're not, baking the shit out of it. So, but that stuff hardens pretty good, and it, I didn't want to have to cut this fender out and then try to remake this part of this panel, because like I said, I'm not that good. And then making that part, I didn't want it to get out of whack or wonky or look weird and not work with the wheel trim molding. So this is what I chose to do for that. If it rusts out again, which I think that this will last a long friggin' time, this fix here. And I want to keep the car as, factory as possible, even though it's rusted, then that should work pretty well. It's definitely a better fix than the body shop did back the original time they fixed this. It's definitely more meticulous than that. I mean, all they did was friggin' Bondo over the pinholes and not give a shit that when I bought it, it's gonna blow right through when it gets wet. And that's exactly what happened. So I think this is okay. And let's say it's my car anyway. I don't plan on selling this anytime and, telling somebody I did a, not exactly perfect fix on it, but whatever. It should be good. It should be good to my standards anyway. It's gonna look good. Is it totally correct? No, I wish I could have done it with metal. I wanted to originally, but welding it would have just been a nightmare. So that's as what do you want to call it? Shade tree of a fix as I have on this. Well, that might be better as a light. As I have on the car right now, anywhere. So I guess I can live with that. I can't make something perfect. It wouldn't be me. Anyway, I hope my friend has a good time fixing this. He'd be okay though. He's pretty good. He did it for years. You sneak through this hole, you can see my big aluminum fuel cell over there. Some of the wiring. That Holly cell pump works tremendously well. So this is where I've gotten with the body and all the other stuff. Car runs and drives well. I took it out on the road when there was no traffic, obviously, because it's not registered and stuff right now. And just gave it a little shake down over to the neighbor's house and around and back. And man, I tell you what, I've been used to driving my dad's Scat Pack Charger, which is 485 horse. And this thing, when I came back, I was laughing because I told him this thing makes your car look like a golf cart. The that big 493 wedge in there, definitely the torque of that thing makes the Scat Pack cars look pretty weak. It's fun. I get it. Well, let me pull my table out here. And that needle gun, by the way, I was using on the leg of the hoist because it's all rusty. It has to be refinished. Let me let this car down. Sorry about the camera work. And I'll be able to peek in the trunk quick. Get a good view of my hoist handle here. Just a thought to you guys, if you're ever working with a hoist and doing this body work and getting involved, don't forget to look under the car every time you put the hoist down. The other day I almost squished my welder setup over there. I almost let it down on top of it. I had about a foot to go before I got yelled at. Totally my fault, by the way. So there's this finished trunk project. I do have the plastic panel to cover the taillights. It's in my garage at home. I just haven't put it in because this has to come out for the car to get painted. So here we are. Here it is. Bulkhead fittings, no leaks. That Incel pump works tremendously. It's great. It is louder than I expected though, but it's only got 5 gallons of fuel in that 20-gallon cell, so that might be why it's loud. I do have to pour 15 that spot there. I think I'm gonna wait until after I weld in the panel though. Yeah. I fixed this. I don't know if it'd be too dark to see. I'm gonna kind of invert you here. I fixed the wiring on the fuel pump relay and all that. Used heat shrink and all that. There's the switch wire with the black tape. The relay switch from up inside the car. Because I think we used black to run it back, so I wasn't gonna change the whole wire because it's perfectly fine. I just put some tape on it to show you. I'm gonna bundle all those up down the road, maybe if I get around to it. But it's been a long time. Today I'm basically slacking off, probably using this video to take some more slack off time. But yeah, I'm not a body guy, and I've accomplished this. So if you're thinking about doing some body stuff, it is not easy, but it's doable. You definitely need a lot of tools though. Don't kid yourself about that. You need a lot of tools and definitely some experience doing shit. So anyway, I also ended up doing a bunch of wiring underneath the car. Not a whole bunch, but this car is dirty as hell right now, and it's a shame the seat's out of it too, but I had to get up under the dash and work around in there, which is never fucking fun. But this is the project coming along. See you guys later.